right around the corner, and joining us here to talk about all the quarterbacks is Mark Sanchez. Mark, thank you for joining us. You were at Caleb's Pro Day yesterday, and to me, all Pro Days kind of look exactly the same, but I'm sure you know more than I do. Did anything jump out to you about Caleb's Pro Day?
No, I think it's interesting, and one, thanks for having me, but two, this Pro Day thing, and maybe I'm too harsh of a grader and too calloused from my years playing in New York or something, but you get this script, right, and you get to practice this routine, you get to rehearse with your receivers multiple times, probably 20 times leading up to today. The mental lift here is quite light, right? There's no defenses, there's no disguising, there's no press coverage, there's no audibles. I mean, you're basically just walking through some plays. It's routes versus air. So I'm not expecting many footballs to be on the ground. Call me crazy, but it should be pretty seamless, right? And I thought Caleb analyzed his pro day perfectly. He came on Colin's show immediately after and just said, hey, I missed a couple deep balls. That was my only takeaway. Everything from, 25 yards and under, the deep in routes, the corner routes, the deep outs, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it was laser sharp, catchable football. The ball was spinning. It looked effortless. Exactly what I'd want to see. A couple deep balls got away from him, got a little squirrely, missed a couple up the right sideline to Brendan Rice. And on air, is that alarming? Maybe not alarming. It's one practice. Now, you also have to understand, I kind of grade these things on a pass or fail. You're not going to jump up 10 spots in the draft because of a pro day. It just basically affirms what I've already seen on tape. And this guy already has so much electrifying tape that you're not really picking him to throw routes on air versus no defense. I mean, that's ridiculous to think that. So bottom line is pass or fail, an absolute pass.
Well, Mark, Caleb absolutely is the star of this draft. I think he's been the most hyped quarterback since probably Andrew Luck. So has it been too much hype, or is it warranted?
I feel like every year this is kind of the new routine we all go through, this dance we kind of go back and forth. But at the start of the year, there's one clear-cut guy, and he's in a different stratosphere than anybody else. And nobody's going to catch this guy. It's him and the rest of the field. And then by the end of the season, we got 6 quarterbacks potentially going in the first round. And now you're trying to find reasons why Caleb is no longer the top guy and why all these other guys are just skyrocketing up everybody's draft board and everybody's mock draft board. So I think bottom line is, yes, was he potentially overhyped? Absolutely. Now the expectation is through the roof. One bad throw at Pro Day, one bad game against Utah or whatever. And now it's, oh man, maybe he's not the guy. No, I still think he's the clear-cut most talented. His whole body of work shows his ability to adapt to different situations. I think one of the best things about him is his ability to extend plays. I mean, he's so electric outside of the pocket. I've broken down plays for Colin Cowherd on his show, and you see the kind of playmaking ability. And if you can just harness that, eliminate some of the silly throws, some of the plays where he's trying a little too hard, where he's trying to make, chicken salad or chicken soup out of chicken crap. If we can eliminate those, buddy, we are off and moving, and he's going to learn it fast. And if he's in Chicago, he's going to have some weapons. So I think beyond a doubt, he's got everything you want.
So Caleb obviously won the Heisman 2 years ago. The guy who won the Heisman this year, Jayden Daniels, Wilds has fallen in love with because he thinks that's who the Patriots are going to draft at 3. It is very difficult to watch LSU this past year and not be wowed by a lot of it. But there are also a lot of moments where you watch Jayden and you're like, I know he's okay because I know how the game ended, but I don't know how he's okay because it looked like he just got power bombed at midfield. How much is Jayden's style and also his pretty slight frame a concern to you? Because the only real concern I have is his durability, but that might be the most important thing for any quarterback in the NFL.
Well, 100%, and I think as you look at all these potential top 6 guys, there's a formula to win with each of the 6. Now, are all of them going to be gold jacket guys? Of course not. So where does Jayden fit in this, draft class? Well, you see here the ability to run and the pure speed. I mean, he's running away from SEC conference studs. And when you turn on the Jets like that and you show me you can run like that, you know that's going to put fear in the defense every time you play on Sunday. Now, what comes with that, ask any quarterback that runs, I mean, you're going to get hit. So how can you teach this kid to get down and not take that hit? The one that looks like that you just mentioned, getting power bombed. I mean, the guy gets folded up like a lawn chair a couple times, and you're like, there's no way he leaves the field not on a stretcher. This is unbelievable. And he pops right back up. So he seems to be durable. I think the most interesting thing about him is at Arizona State, I saw a really good athlete playing quarterback. Right now at LSU, I see a quarterback who happens to be a really good athlete. He processes a lot better. You can see him going through these progressions, full field progressions. And my only concern is some of these deep balls, like the guys running out the back door, just let's not make it an adventure there at the goal line. I want to see some of those balls going away in stride. The guy just runs right through the tunnel to the locker room and close out the game. You know, when I analyze a quarterback, I want to watch a dirty pocket. I want to see him on third down, fourth down. I want to see him in these crucial situations. This guy's got some impressive stuff. I would like to see that deep ball a little deeper on some of those. He's got a lot of jump balls in there that I'd like to see him, throw out the back door, drop it in the bucket, let his guy go. But listen, once again, there's a formula to win with him. But 6'4", 210-ish.
Yeah.
I need you to, then what's he? That's combine 210.
Right.
So he's probably walking around at 200.
Right.
Yeah, maybe. And then you start a season and now you're 190. That worries me a little bit. So he's got to develop physically a little bit.
So that's my only concern. The top three guys, I totally understand why they're the top three guys. Caleb, because I watched the first game of his career, again, when he was at Oklahoma, came in mid-game, and I was like, oh, that guy's awesome, and then he was awesome, to my eyes, every step of the way. Drake May, it's like, he's 6'4.5", 230, has a rocket arm, I understand. Jayden, we just talked about. And then you get to the fourth guy, who some people think might be the third guy. Jim Harbaugh says is the first guy, J.J. McCarthy. And, Mark, you got to explain this one to me. I watched a lot of Michigan last year because they were awesome. And every time I watched Michigan, it felt to me like they were coaching around the limitations of their quarterback. Now I hear teams love the quarterback so much they want to move up into the top 5 to get him. What am I not seeing with J.J. McCarthy, and what do you think of him?
Yeah, I think it's important also to understand, because of all the movement and these opinions, remember there's 32 potential opinions, and within those opinions of every building, there's like splinters of opinions, okay? Yep. So you get this massive web of opinions. Now, you don't have to get all 32 teams to love you. You don't. You just need one. And you want one team that happens to be pretty good, hopefully, to move up and draft you. That's the best situation. If you're writing your script and you're writing this as your kid is J.J. McCarthy, you would want him to go to the best team possible. Well, that's not the way the NFL draft works. The worst team gets the best pick. So he might have the benefit of all these other guys going 1, 2, and 3, and somebody who's a good ball club, potentially Minnesota, potentially one of these teams that was right on the brink of the playoffs, 9-8 type team, which you guys know, 9-8 to 12-5. I mean, we're talking a margin of this. It's a special teams play. It's a fumble. It's an interception. It's a kick return, and your whole season changes. So he's going to get the benefit of going somewhere where he might not even have to play right away, where he might have a sound offensive line in front of him, where he might, just like Patrick Mahomes, have an elite veteran that teaches him the process, that teaches him how to travel, what's your routine on game day, how to watch third down tape, what really do you have in your toolbox to pick up these blitzes? How do you adjust protection? How do you learn how to see these different combo coverages and zone blitzers and all that kind of stuff? Well, he might benefit from that. So in the long run, he might be better positioned based on where he lands. And that's just the way it goes.
Well, Mark, you mentioned Mahomes sitting behind Alex Smith, and you called several or a handful of Bears games this past season. So you saw Justin Fields. Do you think it's best for him to go to Pittsburgh and kind of sit under Russell Wilson and learn? Or do you think, what chance do you give him to maybe take that starting job, if not at the beginning of the year, then some point during the season?
Listen, I think there's plenty on tape to prove that Justin Fields, there's a formula to win with Justin Fields. It's going to require a little less, straight up drop back in the pocket. It's going to be more of your RPO, your zone read type game. But at times you're going to be able to doctor up some of these play actions where he can get around up in the pocket, turn his back to the defense, give a hard play fake, and then make something happen. He's going to extend plays. He's going to do stuff like we're watching right now. But because of the situation in Pittsburgh, and this is pure speculation, I don't have any inside knowledge, but just knowing, when you have two forces like that in one quarterback room, you almost have none.
Yes.
Right? You almost cancel each other out. And it's, the team's looking around just like you are as to, okay, who are we following? Who do we get behind? We're all trying to row the boat in the same direction here, but who's leading us? Who's calling out the plays? And it makes it difficult with big, ego's probably the wrong word, but, big superstars in a room, big names. They come with, guys talk about all these guys come with baggage. They got off the field issues. Well, it's not a negative off the field issue, but they come with a lot of quote unquote baggage because they're superstars and nobody wants to play backup vocals, right? And there can only be one, right? There can only be one quarterback. It's different. Receivers get to eat at the same time. Tight ends, running back. It's a different position altogether. And in my experience and my personal belief is everything in that organization has to be seen through the eyes of your starting quarterback. I don't care if you're the guy making food or the gal making food in the cafeteria, if you're selling season tickets, if you're in suite sales and VIP experience at the stadium. Everything has to be seen through the eyes of the quarterback. How do we get him better? How do we, in some way, script for success? How do we just add little notches on this guy's belt, let him climb every rung up the ladder, establish a leadership role, and get everybody in on it? That's what you have to do. That's what the good ones do. That's how you develop a quarterback. So when you have multiple guys in one room like that, it's a little cause for concern, if you ask me.
It's something we deal with on the show often until you guys realize it.
That would be ego. That's ego.
You're right about
Thank
that.
you, Mark. Have a great day. We appreciate it. It was excellent.